Farmers are always trying to get themselves a better deal. Right, Darren?
Why not? You think about it, with crop inputs like soybean seed, for example, if you could buy it for a few dollars cheaper or buy it in a way that helps you make more money using the same input, what the heck, that's a good deal.
Well, it's not like when you go to the grocery store and there's one brand of milk that's 10 cents less than the other brand. You know what? You say, I don't really care, it's 10 cents. But on the farm, you start talking about something that might save 50 cents or $1 an acre. You multiply that out over 1,000 or 2,000 acres and you say, yeah, that's some real money.
All right, the other thing besides saving money is farmers like things to be easy when they're planting. They don't want something that's going to throw a wrench in things, especially right at planting time. And one of the things that's really been a challenge with soybean seed is you go to order some seed, you say, yep, I really like that variety. I need 100 units because I've got 100 acres. And then all of a sudden that seed comes in at 2,400 seeds per pound instead of 3,000 like you were anticipating. And you say, wow, I'm way short on seed. All of a sudden I'm 20% short on my seed. I got to order another 20 units. And boy, that's not a good surprise when you're trying to plant. So what's happening with a lot of the seed companies now is they're switching. Instead of selling soybean seed by the pound, they're selling it by the kernel count.
Well, this is a big change because the industry has been this way, selling basically a 50-pound unit for years and years and years. So going to a 140,000 kernel unit is a big switchover. But I really like it for our own farm even. I know now exactly how many units I have to buy. Now here's the other thing. Over the years, trying to save money, of course, on our farm, just like you probably are on yours, you've said, well, I want to find a seed count that might be 3,000 or 3,200 or maybe even 3,500 seeds per pound. Instead of getting the really big seed that might be 2,300 or 2,500 seeds per pound, you say, I want the smaller seeds because I'm buying a 50-pound bag. I want more seeds so I can plant more acres. Well, that all sounds fine, but did you know that a lot of the researchers, soybean breeders even, will tell you that the bigger seed will typically yield just a little bit more. Not much, but just a little bit more.
Well, one of the factors in yield is the size of the seed. And if you think about it, if you have something that has 3,000 seeds per pound, they're fairly small seeds. If you have something that's 2,400 seeds per pound, it's quite a bit larger. Well, if you still have 3 beans in a pod and you still have the same number of pods on the plant, if you've got those bigger beans, you're going to have a significantly more yield.
And when you have these bigger beans, they usually have more nutrients inside them. So typically, there's a slight difference in vigor, and so they can withstand maybe a little more adverse conditions and that kind of thing in the spring. So the more that I think these big seed companies have bought all the research companies, so now they're doing all their own basic research and everything, and they have billions of dollars on research. They've all kind of figured this out, and they said, we got to come up with some way to make sure farmers want to buy that big seed, because if we can gain a little more vigor and maybe gain a little bit more yield, well, that's a good thing for the farmer and a good thing for us.
Well, it is a change for the seed breeders, though. I know a number of soybean breeders in the past would say, man, that's a nice variety and it yields well, but the seed is so big that nobody wants to buy it. They'll switch to a different variety because, wow, that's 3,500 seeds per pound instead of 2,500. It's a lot better buy over here. Not even looking at the yield data that, wow, that big seeded bean was a few bushels better. It was tough to get farmers to spend the extra money on the input costs. So a lot of those large seeded varieties were getting just pushed off to the side, and breeders said, well, I guess we won't work with that because nobody will buy it. Now, a lot of those varieties are coming back into play, and we're actually seeing some good yield increases on soybeans as breeders bring these large seeded or varieties that typically have large seeds back into the rotation, and wow, it's making a difference. So we aren't saying anymore, man, the corn yields have been coming up and beans have been steady. Now the bean yields are really starting to improve as well.
Okay, so once again, there are many seed companies who are switching over from selling you a 50-pound unit to selling you a 140,000 kernel unit or 140,000 seed unit in soybeans. With all the Roundup Ready 2 yield soybeans, they are going to be sold that way regardless of the seed company. Now, there are some seed companies that are also selling the Roundup Ready 1 or the old Roundup Ready beans in the seed count. Some of them are selling them by the pound yet, so you're just going to have to make sure you talk to your seed company. It is going to make a difference if you had really small seed. You can buy more seeds if you're getting a 50-pound bag, if let's say that seed count is 3,500. But again, I just come back to, if the bigger seed might yield just a little bit more, it doesn't take much to offset that difference.
Well, there may not be a huge difference to you which way it goes. You may like one way or another on soybean seed, but when it comes to weed control, you just want it one way, dead. We'll show you how to eliminate our weed of the week coming up later in the show.